S1000rr, back from the shop. Some of you have seen some of the promo videos for it, but it is finally back. We are going to dress it. So plastics are the big things. I sent it to the shop with no plastics, and now we're bringing plastics back onto it. And good news, what came in today is a little piece of plastic repair. So let me show you real quick. On our lower plastic portion, when I took this off of the truck about a year ago, I didn't have the belly all sealed up. And what happened is this. So we got a little whoopsie right there. And I contemplated for the last little bit of potentially, I tried gluing it, you can see once, and I'm pretty good with that JB Weld, but even this was a little too much for it. There's probably other ways to do this, but I chose not to. So I just felt like this was probably not the right thing to do in terms of leaving it. Either I could put a brace or a bracket on the inside and try to glue it. And if this other piece doesn't work, but we did receive a used piece in the mail right here. So I'll put that one down right here. And you can see that it's a little worn, which I don't really care. It's on the belly, but fairly good piece. Even has some of the rubber fittings on it, which is really nice. Anyway, so we're gonna, as part of today's work, we're gonna swap these two pieces out. So then I have a good working piece here on the bottom. And we'll put it on this side. We will have, hopefully, by the end of this, at least one side fully dressed out so that it's ready to rock and roll. Because right now, it's pretty naked. So, you know, still stay tuned, stick with me. This could be fun. It could be really boring. I don't really know. We'll see. Another piece that we're going to put on that has to go on is kind of the upper cowl covers. So this will go on. Actually, it probably can go on right now, right here. Now, with the new plastics that I bought, this is the new plastic look. So, I mean, they're pretty basic. The bike came with some carbon fiber on it, which I love the carbon fiber, but you can see there's some carbon fiber damage up here. So right now I'm keeping this carbon fiber piece. The plastic kit actually came with a white cap instead of a carbon fiber cap, but I like the carbon fiber design. So I think it gives a little bit more, I don't know, something to the bike. So we're gonna put that on as well. That one's pretty simple. And then we'll see how the bike looks, the finished product, right? Just let that rest right there for now. So first things first, let's disconnect these two pieces right here and get this lower portion off and put the new one on. Pretty simple, but I won't have any, I'll have to go back and do all my cuts for my, this is probably overkill right here. Those of you can see that it's probably overkill, not needed, but you know, you never know if your engine's going to get too hot, and I had a lot of extra. I still have a little bit of extra, so I might use it on the new piece, and we'll go from there. All right, cool. So, grab your tools. So, star bits. BMW loves these star bits on just about everything. So I have one of these little pieces here. You know, I've got all the way up to a T50 down to a T6. So it's a nice variety with two little adapters, as you can see. But this version, I went back and I bought some. I think these are the DeWalt versions. You see that puts on that nice little adapter right there. Only because the original brand, whatever this brand was, might be Harbor Freight. The teeth tended to strip out if you had something really tight in there. So this is not a T, that's a T30. And my guess is this is probably a T20. Now, BMW does make specific tools for these. Yeah, that looks like a T20. So you can go on BMW and you can buy your own tools, but if you're cheap like me, you don't want to do that. You want to buy the cheapest stuff you can so you can make the best profit. But you also want to have quality work, so you know you have to come in with a pretty decent compromise somewhere. And I tend to go with cheap tools. Oh, I tend to go with cheaper tools and parts and pieces, at least up front, and then I learn my lesson. And I don't know how many of you guys are like that, where you buy cheap stuff and then you realize that was a big mistake. You should have bought the good stuff. So there's the lower piece, just two simple T20 bolts on there. And like I said, the nice thing about this is I've already got my tooth brackets there, which is good. Probably should clean this up a little bit, so maybe we'll wait to put this on. You can actually see, I don't know if you can see this or not in there. You see that? No heat shield. On the back, we've got a little melt, right? So again, if you are changing plastics on any bike and any part of it is close to the exhaust, my recommendation is do put some of that heat shielding on there. It'll save your plastics. We're not seeing a lot of warp on this side, which is good. But if we were, that would make this not as I could still use it, it just wouldn't look as good. But you know, for the purposes of this is on the belly. This is where you get all your scratches from. This is where you get all your marks from on the road. So not a big deal. All right. So like I said before, we're going to slide this bad boy in, and right here, you can kind of see this little holster right here, and it will feed in nicely with this piece right here, right? So they just slide in. That's how you know you have a decent alignment when you do your plastics. Should just slide in right there. And needs to go right in that saddle. And I'm doing this not on a table, which I would normally do, but you guys can watch me struggle through this, hopefully without breaking anything. Because, you know, there we go. All right, we're in. So now that we're in, simply put, just get your bolts finger tied in, and then you can torque them down a little bit. So there's one, and here's the other. And I don't know how much you guys can see. I'm sorry if it's not on camera. You know, the whole purpose of me going live is you can watch me build some stuff, and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you won't. My hope is that you will. You can take something away, or you know, feel free to comment if you see something I'm doing that maybe looks a little weird or isn't right. And I'm learning too. So that's the whole point of this channel, is to be funny, but also hopefully help you guys who've maybe struggled with some stuff in the past. You can learn something, and I can learn from you. And probably better on the learning than the funny part, but here we are. Okay, so outside of me just talking at you guys and yapping, there we go. We are new bottom, okay? So this bottom is going to feed up front about right here. But there is a second challenge with this plastic piece, and that's up here. There's a supporting member in this top cowling. And when we removed it, the bolt actually snapped off the head. And I believe this is an aluminum bolt. So just a little word to the wise, right? If you guys are getting bolts or kits that have, you know, colored bolts or custom bolts like that or anything like that, right? My biggest thing is they will snap off if you over torque them, and then you're screwed. So you're going to have to try to fish that out, and that's what we've done in that piece down there. So don't order these unless you're in a non-critical area, or don't order them at all. Go with stainless steel, titanium, whatever you can afford. I do order these because I like the look, and I don't mind retrieving them as long as I don't put them in critical spots. So we need to grab a set of needle nose pliers all the way back here. Let's see if we can fish that out. Again, not the most entertaining channel. Sorry if you came here for entertainment. I don't know any great jokes. And I don't know if that's working. You guys can see that stuck. That was one of those black bolts that snapped the head off. And I can't tell if it's sinking. Makes this worse. Oh, okay. Because if I eat up the teeth on this, if you're still watching me struggle on this, this is pretty typical for me. Yeah. So the alternative to this, without damaging the plastic already more than I have, there is a snap piece in here, right here, but it was the wrong size when it was installed. So it's pushed through and it's secure, but it's almost more secure than it needs to be, which makes this no fun. On top of that, we have to remove the slider right here, which I think we can do right now, so you guys can see a little bit more progress. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do for that. So again, I'm going back here, I'm looking at it, I'm going, all right, I think that is a T, if I remember right, it's a T45. So I'm going to switch my adapters out to a bigger adapter. Let's see if this was right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had it loose already, but all right, we'll take the slider off. At least that way you can kind of see what it looks like. And I say this in a lot of my videos, for those of you who may be watching, but I cannot say enough about getting a pair of these. If you have a sport bike, you may not like the look of them, but at some point or another, you stay with that sport bike long enough, you're probably going to lay it out, whether it's your own fault or someone else's. And this will greatly minimize the damage. I don't care. Just make sure you find a decent quality of high impact, either plastic or carbon fiber, and it will greatly reduce further damage to your bike if you do lay it out. In fact, because the previous owner of this bike, once again, had sliders on, it minimized the damage. There was some damage on the frame right here, which it was mostly just some heavy scratching. And you can kind of see a little bit of the paint difference. You know, what I've done is I put some Bondo on that and I spray painted it. So luckily no actual damage to the frame other than heavy scratching, but this minimized it. This was pretty much obliterated and gone. So again, get sliders if you can. All right, minus that bolt, and then hooking up our signal light on this side. Essentially, we should go in here, and it should look something along the lines of this, like so. Now, there's a few elements on here. Oh. And I was smart, I left my bolts in so I knew where to come back and get them. Now I got to take them out. I don't want to forget where I put them. So I'm going to put that one down there. There's one down here right in front of the front brake, or the rear brake, excuse me. And I'm going to put them down kind of where they match up with where the running point is for this. Same thing with this one. That one's in kind of more tighter than I expected. So I think we're going back to the T. I think it's a T30. No, T30 is too big. It might actually be the T. Yep, there we go. Now the bike had a lot of missing pieces when I got it. So I ended up supplementing some of these star bolts with just like a hex bolt. That works. You guys can do that too. That's fine. Again, we're using these plastic ones or these aluminum ones. They're all hex bolts or Allen bolts, if you will. So that's totally fine. Now you can see there's a few points on here where it will mate with the surface. If you look at the back of your plastic, if you're installing plastics, you see that right here, a little stub out. That's going to go right in there, male end to female end. And that helps you when you do your mounting process. We're gonna mock this up a little bit. That would go right there. Not too high. Now, if you're a motorcycle person, there you go. If you're a motorcycle person, this is nothing new to you. You've probably done this, especially if you have to do oil changes or other things that make you required to take your plastics off. Again, if you're brand new, great. Thanks for being here. Appreciate any love and support from the community. And I hope you guys, like I said before, I hope you're learning something. That one doesn't want to seed right, but there we go. See, perfect example. I had to supplement an Allen bolt for a hex bolt because I don't have anymore. But I have kits of these left over. I'll put this one in here. Okay. If I remember right, this one was weird. It's like it. That one might take a little bit. Most of these, if you use an Allen bolt, are going to be a 3. Let's see if these ones are 3. I thought they were. Yep. There. Now, I'm not going to put it on too tight. In fact, I'm going to back that one off just a little bit because I still want a little bit of play in my plastics, only so I can still manipulate them a little bit. Okay. Plus, this bike has those fun little winglets that go on it. And I don't think you need them necessarily, but you can kind of see that without them. Make sure you guys can see that a little bit better. Without those winglets, this looks kind of weird and naked, right? So we do have some. Let me grab them real quick. And it's been a little while since I put these on. So these are those little winglets. You guys have seen those, you know, for whatever purposes. But I think downforce is a big one. More and more bikes are having the actual downforce winglets coming out here. Necessary? Probably not. Not on this bike. I mean, this bike is definitely, you know, could, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just spouting off now at this point. But it's been a minute since I put them on. So now I have to remember which way they go on. I want to say you don't want to cover the BMW emblem. So I actually think it's like this. Maybe not. I could be totally wrong. And there's 3 different pieces that have to bite in here. So you have your winglet, you have your main plastic, and then you have your center plastic. And then I don't know if I can get you guys over there to see that. Let's drop down just a tad and see if we can see that over there. Come on over here, guys. Take a look at this. So this has to feed in all the way into here, if I remember right. This piece right here. Let me take those out again. Do you guys see this right here? So we want to make sure that that matches up because there is a piece right there. Right there. Man. Yeah, we're moving around. All right, so there's a staging point right there, or a bolt right there, if you will. Likewise, on this side, you can see we're pretty naked on this side, and we've got the same exact thing. Okay. So while we're here, and you can see the amount of room I've got to do this. I probably should move the bike out more, where I've got more room to do this side. You guys are going, this guy's all over the place. All right. Yeah, you can kind of see that a little bit better. So same thing on this side, right? We're going to put the plastics on this side. We'll take that slider off right there. And the only difference on this side is I don't have anything broken, which is nice. So it's just hooking up the plastic really and then calling it good. So my plastic's over here. Let me see if we can do this real quick. So I can at least show y'all one time where the plastic mates up really well. I'm going to take this off. Okay. So minus the slider, I don't have any broken pieces here, although I am missing a piece here, which is fine because I can fold it in later, but essentially this might even go over the slider and allow me some, yeah, I don't know if I need it. It might give me the freedom just to do it. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. All right, again, if we get it into the mating location, it might hold for a little bit. Hey, what do you know? And on this side, I did not save my bolts like a good little boy. So now we have to find some bolts that are going to fit in this, which is good. I kept most of them. I think I kept all of them, in fact, but I'm going to have to do a little scrounging. So come with me over here and I'll show you. And I think most motorcycle enthusiasts and repair guys are like this, but maybe not everybody. But you can see I've got, this was my BMW box, right? So everything BMW for the most part, except for a few Kawasaki items. So I try to keep all the loose bolts. Anytime I order something, a piece of equipment, you try to keep it. I think most people do this. It's a form of hoarding, if you will. Okay. Same thing. I even have the old spark plugs that were in this bike. It was running kind of rough, so I put new plugs in. Old gas cap, bracket for the back seat rests. So this is what I will normally go through. You can see this is a piece of plastic that broke off, and I take the little clip, retaining clip in there. I'm going to use that for something, you know, probably with this bike because these clips are very unique. They don't take kind of the generic ones you could order aftermarket. So I will probably need that. But I also kept more nuts, more bolts, springs for aftermarket exhausts, you know, just about anything I can think that I might need. Again, in here, you got your fuel injectors. So I had to take the throttle body off. So, you know, if you've never seen a 1000rr throttle body, here it is. Here's half the one. Here's the other half. This was the big reason it was in the shop. Okay. Again, spare parts, things like that. Trying to keep these all in some form or fashion, you know, relative to what my needs are. And then I got really creative, and I'm joking when I say that. I didn't get creative. In fact, what I did is I just made a pile of extra, you know, bolts and things that would be needed. So there's a good chance that these guys are some of what I need. See, these ones are, and I'm calling these ones out because they look very similar to the ones I was using. See, there's a star bolt right there. That's not one. See, if you don't put your stuff back, you don't remember where it goes. This is some of the stuff you're going to run into. And, all right, so I'm pretty sure these two are going to be helpful. Maybe these two. We're going to experiment a little bit and see what we get from these. Come back over here. Let's see what we're looking at over here, folks. Here's the moment of truth. Now, I could use the plastic ones. I've got some extra plastic ones I'll show you here in a second, but I don't want to use the plastic ones only because this, to me, is critical. Up here, maybe not so much, and I'm okay using the plastic ones, but anything that goes straight to the frame, I'd rather use non-aluminum steel bolts, right? These look like they could be close, but they also look like they're, BMW has a pretty fine bolt pattern and thread, and these might be too coarse. So we'll find out here in a second. I'm off. I'm too high. I'm in the locale. Oh, that's why. Oh, still too. There we go. So let's see if this even sets in there. It may not. Maybe. You'll find out really quick if your thread's swolled. You'll go in maybe a millimeter. And this one seems to be holding, so that's a good sign. If the threads are off, they won't thread into it anymore. But these are also very longer than the normal ones, so I'm a little worried that they're too big. I think these are too big. All right, so what I've started doing after this bike is when I remove stuff, I usually put it in a baggie and I take a Sharpie and I mark what it is. I think there's other people that do that. It's not unique, but highly recommended. So you don't end up like me in this situation where I'm going, all right, well, which one does that go to? So I've got a big one here right in the middle that I know I need to put on as well, but I don't have, I'm shy some bolts that you can see there. So back over here, friends. All right. So ideally, minus some of the errors I've had already, that's part of what the bike should look like. Now, one thing I do know I should have, this top cap and the side cowls should have almost all, if not all, the pieces for that. Okay. Hopefully you can see the vision of what this is supposed to look like. Okay, got the plastics on front. Everything's coming together when we start to put it together. It's a beautiful thing. Now on this bike, these plastics do have little side saddles as well to feed into. So we want to make sure we feed into those nicely. And they kind of pinch against the bike until they get all the way where they need to be. Nice. Okay. I left that one in because I was thinking ahead apparently. So we'll just start with that one. But then I'm going to go to the complete opposite side. And the only reason I want to go to the complete opposite side, you guys, is because I don't want it to get too uneven on me, right? So you can see I'm going to put in this first one right here, which I believe is a 3. Yep, it's a 3. And now I'm going to tighten it down almost all the way, back off just about a quarter turn. So you can still see I got play in this, only so I can help align the rest of them. But as said before, we will put this one in next. That way we are aligned. We're stretched with this plastic on both sides evenly. And hey, if you've been watching this so far, thanks for sticking around. If you jumped in, you just can't stop getting enough of me. Appreciate that. If you find this utterly boring and tasteless, then I'm sorry you stuck around for so long. But again, hopefully you guys are learning something. I hope you all go out and you buy a bike and you have to fix it. And you can be like, hey, that old weirdo, he knows how to put bikes together. I'll watch one of his lame videos and figure it out. Maybe you'll make your own videos. I don't know. I mean, whatever you do, it'll be cool. Oh, I can't even see what I'm doing. I got to back off a little bit here. So one thing I don't have my forward facing camera on, so I don't know what you guys can actually see. But again, there's two of these bolts down here, one just below the seat. So once you get these set in place, the rest kind of figures itself out. This one came a little loosey on me. Hey, if you're watching, let me know where you're from if you want to. I mean, who's watching this? Anybody out of country? I'm wondering if I got anyone from Germany watching me mess around with a BMW and going, idiot, what a dummy. Because, you know, that might be something I said if I was from Germany. Messing with my heritage vehicles. All right, those four are on. Those four are on. Heck yeah. Hey, thanks for the compliment on the bike. Appreciate that. Cool. All right, so those four are on. We've got 1, 2, 3, and then there's these two right here, which I don't have bolts for. Go figure, right? So I don't have them yet. Yet is the correct answer, or correct statement. I don't have bolts for them yet. So come up here with me real quick, you guys. Let's take a look at this. Now, if you're curious about the other bikes at all, yes, I have done some live streams on them. They're fun. Again, now the thing that sucks about this is I've got a very fine thread that needs to go in here, and these are not fine threads. So I've got these black bolts, Allen bolts, and then I've got your chrome version, which I don't love, and I'll probably change those at a later time. But for now, we're just getting covers on. All right. Just like that. Okay. And then the last one goes right up here at the neck. Move some of this stuff out of the way so you guys can see. Whoop. There you go. Kind of see that. There's one last, it's kind of a set screw. You see how I can push this down. It's got a little bit of compression to it. Not anything crazy. I'm going to come over here so you guys can see me work. For those of you who've stuck with me this far, but hopefully where you are today, the weather is good. And if you like motorcycles, you are out riding. Where I live, the weather is wet and cold and not very conducive to riding. So, but maybe later this week. We're not getting snow, I'll tell you that much. Not yet anyway, which is pretty good. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 in the back. So there's 7, and you have one on this side that we don't have any bolts for. But take a step back. We look at this. Hey, look at that. One piece was successful. So that really brings us back to, so this is on, that fills in a lot of gaps. If I put the seat on, I'll show you guys this real quick. So you just kind of see what the seat looks like. Not that you guys have never seen a bike with a seat, but. All right. So now when you take a look at it, you look at that. All right, so the bike is coming together much, much better. If anyone's curious, I did use a fender eliminator kit on this, a TST eliminator kit. I think that makes that, just that sharp line for the S1000 just looks so nice. And, you know, I'm a fan. But, all right. If you're not watching me right now, hopefully you're watching football or something. Or you're just having a lazy Saturday, staying warm wherever you're at. That's all that matters. Okay, so we're back to this piece right here where we want to attack that. But again, I can't do anything really official until I can get some stuff to, you know, made up and make sense. And that's what we're working on. So let's see if I have any bolts that might work in that capacity. All right, so 5 is too big for these guys. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to show you guys. You guys want to see, when you work on bikes long enough, you get one of these drawers. I'll show you one of these drawers. This is funny. Hopefully y'all get a kick out of this, but all right, various different drawers, you know, that anyone could have in their shop. But when you work on bikes long enough, you get one of these drawers, which is nothing but extras, bolts, nuts, washers, spacers, you name it. Multiple kits that I bought for extras, and I have, you know, actual steel, and then you have aluminum, right? And again, aluminum, remember, non-critical pieces. All right, so now I don't even remember why I came over here. I think I was looking for these. Oh, I remember why. So you'll get one of those. Let's go to my Allen wrenches drawer. I think we're looking at a 4, maybe 4.5. We'll take them both. Let's go back here and see if I got the right sizes for these guys. This is my 4.5. 4.5's too big. Uh-oh. I bet you this one, oh, it does fit. What do you know? Okay. So either it goes this way or it goes this way. I'm actually inclined to believe that this is more accurate. See, that one doesn't work. That's why it's good to have a couple Allen wrenches with you. You never know which one you're going to find that's going to actually bite. Feels like that's too. Let's go back to this guy. I think I am supposed to be. Oh, I can see why. So you can't line anything up if you're not in alignment here, which I may have to get that bolt out before I can officially get in there. Yeah. Shoot. All right. Back to the drawing boards, boys. Not really, but we are going to have to postpone putting these guys in until we can get, you don't want to lose them either, so I like to put them pre-mounted and ready to go. Take that one back out. That's our 3. And that is our 4.5. So we do need to get that. I didn't put these in tight either. I'm going to put these up here because I think it's going to take me a little bit longer to figure this out. I don't want to kick them. And if you've ever done that before, you kick them and they go scattering all over the place, and then you're kind of MIA for some of your stuff. So that brings us back to right here. You guys see that? I'm going to show that to you. This piece right there, that's the piece that broke off. And then there's that snap retainer in there. You can kind of see that snap retainer. That is well oversized for this. I mean, it fit, but it's obviously caused problems now. So use the right size retainers, otherwise you're going to run into this. Now I have to get that out because it won't fit over the top of it for securement. Cool. All right. Try not to scratch up the plastics as much as possible. So we're going to... I think I need something with a little more grip than these to go after that aluminum piece. Hang tight. And let's see, what do I have in here? These guys, maybe. Or we'll just go with some... Might need something with a little bit more grip than that. Which... Now I gotta remember what drawer I put it in, everyone, because sometimes... Certainly not that. It's way too big. There we go. Let's try 2 different kinds here. Actually, I'm just going to take all of them. Regular pliers, angled pliers, bigger set of needle nose, and little stubby needle nose. And we're going to try every one of them. Look at that. So sometimes when I don't get going the way I want, I don't like making multiple trips to and from the spot where I'm doing the work, even though it's only a few steps away. Now these guys are not really for these, but they have some pretty good grip, and there's a lot of leverage behind it if I can, essentially clamp it and turn it. And so that's what we're going to try to do. All right. So come on down here and watch this with me if you want. Or go find someone else more cooler than I am. And you can come back when I've figured out how to fix my mistakes. So let's see if we can get it to turn. There's a lot of leverage on it. The last thing I want is to break the plastic, though. It feels like it's moving, or I'm just squishing it in there. Oh, I'm just squishing it in there, apparently. Actually, these give me tons of leverage. And I'm worried I'm going to break the plastic here. Okay, that didn't work. And I don't think anything else is going to work. I think it's too big, too bulky. Probably Really, if I could just get it to break loose of that snap, we'd be fine. So maybe that's the second thing we go after. Do that, push this out. So I can always get a new snap or connecting piece if I need to. That's not a big deal. Ha! There we go. All right. So now you guys can kind of see, broke off the head. It is not twisting out, but I don't want to break this piece. I really don't want to break this piece. So now I have better access to it. And that snap container was, or retainer was, I pushed it in and everything. It still wasn't small enough to come out. So I'll have to find a new piece for that as well. So that's garbage. Throw that away. So now it's just working on this bad boy with more. So now I can see if it's actually, it is moving a little bit, but the threads are so torn up on the bottom now. I just need it to go all the way out. Let's go back with these guys. So there is a third option. And I could drill this if I wanted to and drill that out. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It's aluminum, so it should go in, should go pretty smoothly, is I guess the word I'm looking for. We could try drilling that out. If we drill it out, then Bob's your uncle, right? Some of you younger generation, if you're watching this, you've never heard that before. Go look it up. All right, but we did it without breaking the plastic, which is important. I don't want to break any of the plastic here. I don't know if I can get on top of this. Probably not. Nope. Nope. All right. Well, we'll drill this sucker out. That's what we're going to do. But until then, let's see how this matches up. Now that that piece is out, we might be able to get the front in because that piece can slide in later. Look at that. A little smoother on the delivery. Oh, yeah. There you go. Oh, I say that and then that happens. Not a bad thing. Oh yeah, there we go. That's much nicer. And how that's supposed to go in there. Check this out. So that actually went in. See that? We're going to fill that little gap in right there, a little bit of air. It'll fill in, we'll tighten it up. Put those little winglets on. Mount everything where it needs to go. I'll have to adjust these plastics real quick. Let's take a look at these. Because that is right there. Actually, no, that's not bad. Just behind the timing. So this is your timing chain. So timing chain covers a good slider to have just in case you do go down. The previous owner had one of these as well, so I replaced this and the one on the stator cover. Again, having the sliders on will save you immensely, but if you don't have sliders, I'd recommend those as well. I mean, this is a high-powered performance vehicle. Why not, right? Why not have it? So, okay, cool. So let's put those bolts back in and see what it looks like a little bit better. You know that it mates a little bit better with the surface. This is by far the longest video I've made live. So again, if you've been staying with me for the last 40 somewhat minutes, thanks. If you're just cruising through and you happen to stop by, say hi, tell me where you're from. And if you have no interest in bikes, That's cool too, man. Probably got your own hobbies. Some people, it's totally different things. We all like our own things. That's all right. But to each his own, and that's not a bad thing. This might fit a little bit better now that it's not totally off. Maybe not. I feel like it's not biting. It's probably because it needs to be pushed. Oh, too much. Well, now I ruined that. Dang it. Well, you know how it is. Everything was better the way it was before you touched it. There we go. All right, we're back. It's kind of hard to show you guys all these things, but what exactly I'm looking at when I'm talking about not biting. And if you fix bikes or cars, you know, but if you're just here to hear my sultry voice, you know, then the rest of this probably doesn't make sense to you. But if you're here just to look at a buffoon try to work on stuff, that's cool too. Thanks for being here. There we go. It bit. It took. There we go. Now you can see the plastic kind of sucking in, which is what you want it to do. But you don't want to crack this. So when you start to feel a lot of force on these, don't push it. Just kind of let it get it nice and snug, and then that's where you leave it. Otherwise, you could break the plastic. You break the plastic, then you, my friends, will be in this ballpark again with a broken plastic piece that you're going to have to go and order another piece like a doofus because you weren't paying attention on the easy stuff. Not even the difficult stuff, just the easy stuff. So, all right, now what we can do to help secure this, we can put our slider back in. So if you guys remember, we take our other adapter, which doesn't hold these bits very well, but it does fine for what we need. We're going to screw that on right there. Boom. Look at that. Now it does rub up against the plastic a little bit. That's fine. I'm not going to freak out about that. Nice and snug. Still got a little bit of play. That's okay. But the goal for this video was to get one or both sides on, considering that I'm missing a few extra things here in terms of bolts for the other side. Let's take a look at this side. Back to front. I'd say it looks pretty good. Now, like I said, we still got to work on these little winglets right here. We'll get those in. And then we've got to go in here. We've got to do some work on these headlight. They're not supposed to be this loose. And I'm not sure if there's a part for that or not. So we'll dive into that eventually. Get my turn signals hooked up. That's pretty simple. But there you go, folks. We've got one side connected. We've got our cap on, our cowl covers on. I call them cowl covers. They're cowlings, right? So they're like the in-betweens of plastics and metal. This is a pretty slick bike. If it does run, once I get it fully dressed, including getting the belly all hooked up at the bottom, we're going to take it for a ride. So once I get the other bolts, maybe I'll go live again. I'll show you the other side, or I'll just show you a quick video. That way, if anyone's subscribed, you'll see it when it happens. That way you don't have to watch a full live video to see everything I'm doing. You can see a quick short or whatever. Again, appreciate everyone who jumped on. I appreciate everyone watching. If you want to see more stuff like this or how-tos, go ahead and subscribe. And hopefully I have more bikes in the garage to show you. We still got a lot of work to do on this Goldwing. This 2018 Honda Goldwing. If this is something you like to see, please join me for some fun, entertainment, or nothing at all. And we'll go from there. Anyway, everyone, thanks for being on. BMW S1000rr. More to come.